hundreds of honeybees here at Harb's Family Farm in Mattituck. Welcome back to the East End here on News 12 Long Island. Now the story not of bees, but other pretty fascinating creatures, snakes, lizards, other reptiles, all at Fauna, a new exhibit in Riverhead.
The International Fauna Society is a not-for-profit. This really started with me 10, 15 years ago, I guess, doing animal shows in my personal private collection in schools for my sons.
Just explain the name, International Fauna Society.
Yeah, the word fauna is much mispronounced and much misunderstood in that it's from a Roman god called Faunus. Fauna and the flora, quite simply, are all living things on Earth. It's plants and animals. Fauna are the animals, flora is the plants. So we're just focusing on one little aspect of the fauna. That's, again, the reptiles, amphibians, and vertebrates.
So what do you have here? It's quite a collection. How many different animals would you say?
Yeah, boy, I haven't counted them recently, as many cages have multiple. There's 75 individual enclosures, ranging from 15 feet long down to 2 feet long. We focus, again, we have a lot of insects, tarantulas, scorpions on the low end, some cockroaches that are pretty interesting, believe it or not. We keep cockroaches as pets, if you can believe that. Amphibians, salamanders, newts, frogs, and toads. And giant snakes in the forms of pythons, anacondas, which are very hot this week, iguanas, large lizards, Big Joe, our big monitor lizard, assortment of turtles and tortoises.
That python, the yellow python, that is very, very eye-catching. What's the story behind her? Or
yeah, she's one of our famous residents here. That's Banana, the python, who has been to, 100-plus schools and been to more birthday parties and picnics and parks than you can possibly imagine. She's an albino Burmese. It's a bright yellow snake that in nature would never last more than a couple of weeks, probably. But being born in captivity, it lasted now 8 years. 8 years. Nothing wrong with the animal. It's just brightly colored. Therefore, it's one of our stars, one of the stars of the show.
But in the wild, that yellow would hurt it because it would have no camouflage.
In the wild, it has no camouflage, and therefore a predator would probably eat it almost instantly. If it lasted a week, it'd be lucky. But very, very rare would make it to maturity.
This is Joe. He's a 25-year-old Asian water monitor. He eats mammals. Gets pretty big in the wild. In captivity, they can live a pretty long time. They make pretty good pets if you have the right size enclosure for them, but we don't recommend it because of their size.
This is our American alligator here. These are the alligators you'll see down in Florida, the Carolinas, all throughout Louisiana. This one here actually was found not too far from here in Quogue. This apparently was somebody's pet, and they decided they didn't want it anymore, I guess, and they decided to let it go in a pond, which during the summer is okay, but of course once it gets too cold, this alligator unfortunately would not have survived. This one is probably about 2 years old.
Now, they're very strong jaws, needless to say.
Very strong jaws. This big bone right here, it's a very strong muscle, and it comes down with a lot of force. Another thing about this alligator, you'll notice the eyes sit up on top of the head, and that allows her to see out of the water while keeping the rest of her body submerged. And her little nostrils up there, little valves on them that they can close. When they sink underwater, they can close their nostrils, and to see underwater, they actually have an extra set of eyelids. And I'll close her eyes, and when they open them, you'll see the clear eyelid there, the little clear eyelid. That closes when they're underwater, so they can see underwater. They can see what's hiding, lurking, little frogs and fish and things like that.
Who are these guys behind you there, Bob?
Yeah, here we have our a pair of rhinoceros iguanas. That's a mating pair, breeding pair. They're from the Cyclura genus. Fantastic animals, not a green iguana. These are the rock iguanas. Anybody who's taken a vacation down to the Caribbean, you'll see them on almost every island. They have a different type of rock iguana. Through human encroachment on habitat and building up of hotels in some of these places, all these animals are threatened. This is one of the more populated species. It's the Cyclura cornata, or the rhinoceros iguana. The male gets a big horn on his nose as he gets older. You find them in the Dominican Republic, in particular in Haiti.
This is a bearded dragon. They're from Australia. This one is a male. They eat crickets and some vegetables. And they could live about 10 or 15 years, and they're very, very docile. These are the best pet lizard you can get.
Really? I mean, do they show affection? I mean,
they don't show much affection, really, just that They don't move around much if you take them out of the cage.
No fear of biting, anything like that?
Can't really get them to bite no matter what you do.
This is a common snapping turtle that you find all throughout Long Island. They're pretty much in almost every pond and estuary, river you'll find, freshwater animal. We always tell people just leave him alone, let him go about his business. That's 90% of the time a female is trying to find a nesting site. 10% of the time it's a male who's walking across to get to another pond to find another female.
There's something about reptiles and lizards and crocodiles. What is that fascination that people have with just staring at them, do you think?
It's a love-hate, really. I mean, some people are actually infatuated. You saw this morning some of the littlest toddlers want to touch even Big Joe, the 7-foot water monitor. They want to go over and hug him. Other people are very apprehensive. But even the ones that hate them have a natural attraction to them. I know all the folks at the Bronx Zoo, and the Reptile House is still probably the most, it draws more than any other exhibit because people walk through, some of them are cringing and some of them can't wait to feel everything. Many of the school districts already know the Fauna Society and Fauna Magazine. We're a membership-based organization. We're, again, being not-for-profit, we're looking for any help we can get, but we think being here in proximity to Atlantis Marine World, adjacent to the Dinosaur Museum, and down the street from a very underutilized, I think, science center, that there's a great day here for all schools to come out and spend an entire 8-hour period. It's right on Long Island, Suffolk County, as you know. It's a great day in Riverhead to come out and spend the whole day.
You can reach the Fauna Society at